What's going on, guys? Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 2 of the JAL, and today we are up against Melontosh and his Electivires, and like I said, this is a for fun league that I'm still deciding to upload just to kind of, get used to uploading Draft League content, as I do think I am going to be doing it more in the future, and also because this is such a fun team that I want to try to upload these matches. In this league is around the concept of trying out busted mons, seeing how they do, and just going from there. So I'm going for it. I mean, it's been fun so far, and I hope that it continues to be fun. And the busted mon that we are up against this week is going to be Genesect. Now, Melontosh actually has a core of Genesect and Mega Latios, both of which are incredibly terrifying to try to deal with. And the rest of his team, I mean, while it kind of looks awkward on paper, you might look and be like, oh, well, I mean, it's like it's okay. But when prepping for it, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that's a threat. That's also a threat. This could be annoying. I mean, it really just, it doesn't look good on paper, but in practice, it's horrifying. Like, it really, really is. And unfortunately, because I'm not playing on Wi-Fi, I don't get the added benefit of being able to tell what Zoroark is. So on Showdown, I'm just able to be like, okay, well, maybe that's Zoroark. I don't know, because on Wi-Fi, you're able to see what moves would hit Zoroark super effectively. And so it kind of defeats the purpose of Illusion, but unfortunately on Showdown you're not able to do that, so we're just going to have to deal with that right then. And Melon's team is Genesect, Mega Latios, Rotom Wash, Conkeldurr, Roserade, Piloswine, Zoroark with the Z Crystal, Kecleon, Mimikyu with the Z Crystal as well, and Smeargle. So, oh boy. Well, looks like we are kicked off, but we're just going to work offline. That is fine with me because really don't have to do anything, and I'm just going to refresh whenever I have to do the battle anyway. And so, yeah, threats on his team. Obviously, the first two, Genesect and Mega Latios. Conkeldurr can be a problem if I let my Mew get too low or knocked out. A Zoroark, if Scarfed, I mean, I had to figure out what that thing is, and then it's less of an issue. It's just a matter of early game figuring out what Zoroark is, and because I mean, what Zoroark can be threatens certain members, and my switch-ins to the mons that he would probably disguise it as, I would switch in other members. So it's really just figuring out what Zoroark can be early, and then Mimikyu with the disguise is just going to be annoying in general, so I can't have anything necessarily sweet because Mimikyu will be able to guaranteed take one hit and retaliate back, so I'll have to work around that. Now with my team, this week I'm bringing the Tapu Koko, Mew, Heatran, Scolipede, Serperior, and Hawlucha. I'm noticing his team literally has nothing for Hawlucha. I mean, Rotom Wash is as good of a Hawlucha check as he has, and Rotom Wash just gets demolished by High Jump Kick. Now I do want to point out that the combination of Rotom and Mimikyu can lead to some rather unfortunate situations where he might be able to switch in between Rotom and Mimikyu to try to bait out the High Jump Kick, put me in range of Shadow Sneak. So that might be something that I don't want to have to worry about. And if I didn't want to worry about it, I'd run Drain Punch, but just the fact that High Jump Kick hits almost twice as hard as Drain Punch is something that I definitely need to have. So Hawlucha is going to be one win con. Another win con is going to be Serperior, because once again, looking at his team, he has nothing for Serperior. I mean, Roserade is pretty solid if he runs Spadef, but I mean, I can still hit it with a +2 HP Fire. Just got to wear that down a little bit. Genesect gets destroyed by HP Fire. Mega Latios, if it's not running any bulk, cannot switch into a Leaf Storm and take a Dragon Pulse. So Serperior is very scary, but at the same time, he could just as easily run like Scarf Genesect or like other Scarfers that could be a problem as well. So again, I have plenty of good win cons. I just have to be able to play around those. And I'm just going to go down the lines and talk about the mons. The first mon I'm bringing is the Tapu Koko, just 4 attacks, Life Orb, because again, looking at his team, Tapu Koko has the coverage for everything. Volt Switch, I can Volt Switch on everything. His only ground type is Piloswine, which is 2-hit KO'd by Grass Knot if it's just full HP and no attack. And even if it is Eviolite, I will not stay in just to Grass Knot it unless it's below half. I'll have to get some chip damage on that, which I should be able to with my team. But regardless, Volt Switch plus Grass Knot covers just a free move on anything. Brave Bird is for the Roserade, and Dazzling Gleam hits things like Mega Latios super effectively, Zoroark super effectively, Conkeldurr super effectively, and with the Life Orb, this thing hits so incredibly hard, and unfortunately for me, unfortunately for him, because my team is so fast, I'm able to run a Modest Nature on Tapu Koko and still outspeed everything that I need to, so I'm pretty pumped about that. Max Special Attack to hit as hard as possible, 220 speed, to still outspeed the Mega Latios, which is his fastest non-Scarfer, 12 into attack to guaranteed Oko Roserade. I would think that if he brought Roserade to try to counter Tapu Koko, he would go Spidef, because that's the most likely thing I am to bring, and then with Brave Bird plus Life Orb, I can easily do more than enough to Roserade to knock it out, and then the rest in defense just for things like Shadow Sneaks, Mach Punches, Extreme Speed, Sucker Punches, that type of thing. Now Mew is going to be my Please Don't Sweep Me Mega Latios mon. So Mega Latios, a lot of people have been saying that it's not a top tier threat. I mean, it still is a top tier threat, but like it's not in the highest echelon of draft mons. And I know that most people think that it is incredibly threatening, which it is, but Mega Latios, oh my gosh, that thing is absolutely terrifying. Luckily, it cannot run a Z Crystal because, you know, Mega, and so it's a little bit easier to prep for in terms of damage. And so that's what this Mew is designed to be. I mean, also Mew gets some momentum, able to T-Wave some stuff, that type of thing. So with my Mew, I go max HP just to be able to take hits as well as possible on the physical and special side. That's really what the goal of this Mew is, and really, Mega Latios is not too big of a threat for me because, I mean, again, I have 3 different mons, well, 4 different mons if you include Hawlucha in the electric terrain, but I'll get to that in a little bit, that can outspeed it. So what I'm most scared about is the Dragon Dance set. Now, I think that my matchup is good enough to where I can win straight up if none of his mons set up. That being said, he has 2 of the most terrifying setup mons in the game, in Mega Latios and Genesect. So Mew is going to be my Mega Latios, Please Don't Sweep Me mon, and Heatran is going to be my not Mega Genesect, wow, that'd be terrifying, my Genesect, Please Don't Sweep Me mon. So really, with this Mew, like I said, max HP so I can take hits equally on the special and physical side. 76 in defense in order to guaranteed live Adamant Mega Latios' +1 Outrage after rocks. So very specific. I think that the only way that Mega Latios can beat me is to Dragon Dance because, again, I outspeed him with plenty of mons, and then, take Scolipede, for example, just being able to destroy it with a Mega Horn. I'm not too worried about a special set, mostly because that can't boost its speed in any way. And then 100 in special defense. So really I just kind of put the rest in special defense, but what this actually does is allows me to take a +1 Timid Draco Meteor, which, I mean, like, I'm 100% okay with. And then the 80 speed and Timid Nature is to outspeed Genesect trying to speed creep Timid Heatran, which I think he might try to do. I would think with Genesect, I mean, there's nothing significant below 100. Like, Heatran's the first thing on my team that is a significant speed tier below 100. So I would think that would be what he would EV his Genesect to try to hit. And so my Mew, like, if he's not Scarfed, just to outspeed that a little bit, and then maybe get a T-Wave off if he's not Scarfed, and get a T-Wave off while he tries to Rock Polish or something like that. Now, I thought about Flamethrower in that slot, but T-Wave works for both Latios and Genesect to slow them down, and that's ultimately what this Mew is designed to do, just not get swept and not get set up on and swept by his threats. So that's ultimately what this Mew is for. And then 100 Spidef, like I said, able to take a +1 Timid Draco Meteor, which in conjunction with the fact that this Mew is also able to take a +1 Adamant Outrage, I'm just like, oh, that's kind of actually really cool. Now, as for the moveset, Soft Boil, obviously, to be able to get health back, because, you know, that's kind of important on Mew. T-Wave to T-Wave his setup mons, just keep them from being able to set up and sweep my team, just gets too fast, that type of thing. Psychic mainly for Conkeldurr and Roserade, just because those are 2 things. Like, my real damage dealing move in this set is with Psychic, and of all the things on his team, Rotom and Conkeldurr are the only 2 things, well, I guess Piloswine to an extent, but I can just chip that thing down with Psychic soft-boiled up, so it's not scary. Conkeldurr and Rotom are the only things that really don't mind a T-Wave at all. Well, Roserade too if Natural Cure, but again, Psychic. So Psychic hits Conkeldurr super effectively, Roserade super effectively, Rotom for a solid bit of damage, because I mean it's still stab coming off a 100 base special attack, and then Piloswine to a lesser extent. So that's going to be my main damage. I thought about Flamethrower, but I just decided that Thunder Wave was better. If I'm going to go for a support Mew, I need to have it able to support my team as much as possible. And then I have Mew-turn on there. Yes, I am calling it Mew-turn because that's what it is. It is Mew U-turning. This is for U-turning out against like Zoroark if he tries to switch in. And also one thing he might try to do once he sees that my Mew is a support mon, this lets me take hits from something like Genesect or Mega Latios or Scarf Zoroark or like a Shadow Sneak or something like that from Mimikyu. It lets Mew take the hit and then U-turn out into something else so that they don't have to take the hit on the switch in. So that's really what U-turn, or Mew-turn, sorry, wow, I broke my own rule, is for. Now we have the Heatran, which is the Don't Get Swept by Genesectmon, and the reason I'm running Shuka over Pasho, so first of all, I went back and forth between two items, Shuka and Pasho, just for the Not Get Swept by Genesect. I thought that HP Ground was a lot more likely than Douse Drive on Genesect because, I mean, one, HP Ground hits Tapu Koko for super effective damage, and also running HP Ground. First of all, they do the exact same amount of damage to Heatran. Heatran is able to take the HP Ground, and then also Douse Drive, if he used it on Genesect, he wouldn't be able to use another item, so I figure, okay, HP Ground allows him to have an item as well. So that's kind of why I decided on Shukaberry. Sorry, trying to dry mouth. I'm trying to talk here. Now, as for the set, I have Stealth Rocks because I wanted Stealth Rocks somewhere on his team. Chip his mons down, put Mimikyu in Hawlucha range, among other things. I mean, that's one of the particular things that Stealth Rock helps me with. Flamethrower for, again, Genesect. HP Grass for the Rotom, and then Flash Cannon just as good neutral coverage against everything else. I mean, hitting Piloswine for super effective damage because Flamethrower, while it hits hard, does not hit for necessarily super effective due to thick fat. So I mean, Flash Cannon is just a good neutral coverage. The speed is to outspeed, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was modest max speed Rotom, or non-boosting max speed Rotom. So like if he brought, first of all, I'm pretty sure he's going to bring defensive Rotom against me, but if he brought offensive, I think he would bring modest over anything else just because Timid does not have the damage output necessarily that it would want against my team. So Heatran's just there to outspeed. I mean, even if Rotom's like max HP, max speed, and bold or something like that, just Heatran's able to outspeed that. 4 in Spadef to give Genesect the download boost in attack because special attack is what I'm most afraid of. As with physical attack, again, I have Heatran, I have my Hawlucha. I have plenty of mons to deal with physical attacking Genesect. And so Heatran gives him the physical attack boost, so I don't have to deal with a special attacking Genesect, and then 24 in HP, just threw the rest in there. Now, the first of my 3 big win cons is going to be Poisonium Z, Scolipede. Looking at his team, if I get an SD up, something dies. Like, just plain and simple, something 100% dies. Poison Jab, Mega Horn, and Superpower cover his entire team, with Superpower being moves that I would only use for Genesect and Piloswine. Mega Horn for the Mega Latios, and then Poison Jab just as coverage on the rest of his team. I decided with Poisonium Z instead of Fightium Z because it allows me to KO Conkeldurr more reliably and just be able to fire that thing off for better coverage against his team, because I really, really do not think that you would just hard switch Genesect into a Scolipede that was at +2. You would try to bring it in, pick it off later, if anything. And Fightium Z, like, if I go for that on, like, Mega Latios, Roserade, Mimikyu, it just would be kind of wasted. Basically, Poison Jab was more reliable as a Z move. The speed, I mean, this spread is super, super simple. Speed for Mega Latios, outspeed it naturally, rest in a max out attack, and then the rest in HP, which I luckily hit an odd HP number, which is nice. Now, I also have Superior as another win con, with Leaf Storm, HP Fire, Dragon Pulse having perfect coverage against his team. Like, nothing switches in on Superior. And then Defog as my last move because, I mean, I could run Giga Drain for heals and stuff like that. Could run Glare for Paralysis, but I already have Paralysis with my Mew, and then Superior just is a way of, like, maybe he might try to hazard stack me with, like, Smeargle and Piloswine, so that, and Kecleon. I guess Kecleon does get rocks too, that's funny. Just he might try to do something cheeky with that to throw me off my game, particularly Sticky Web, which could be bad for me, particularly with my Mew, Heatran, Scolipede, and Tapu Koko, all just being hit solidly by Sticky Web. Granted, it does give my superior a speed boost, which I'm hoping will deter him, but either way, like, I had a fourth move, and it's like, might as well have a contingency in that case. The speed on this superior is for Mega Latios, max out special attack. I would max out HP, but again, superior, I put in 4 special defense so that Genesect gets the attack boost as well. And finally, we have Hawlucha. Now, I didn't get to use it last week, but once again, you guys might know what Hawlucha is going to do. Doesn't make it any easier to stop. I mean, this is just the basic Electric Seed, Acrobatics, Swords Dance, High Jump Kick Hawlucha with Fire Punch to be able to KO the Genesect more reliably. Because like I said, I think just straight up my team can beat him. The only way that I think I can lose this match is if he gets one of his Mons set up like Mega Latios or Genesect. So in order to keep Genesect from sweeping me, if he got up like a Shift Gear or a Rock Polish, I do have Fire Punch on this Hawlucha so that I'm able to just KO it, just one-shot it completely, no questions asked, no prior damage. This was Fire Punch over Substitute in case he wanted to play like cheeky games, try to wisp me, paralyze me, stuff like that. But I decided that Fire Punch was just more reliable. Acrobatics, High Jump Kick as the main 2 stabs, and then Swords Dance to boost my attack to hopefully sweep his team if I get the chance. So yeah, that is the team, pretty straightforward. Just try to win and try not to get swept, and let's go ahead and hop on over to the match. Alrighty, we've got the battle, and immediately I am noticing that, okay, we have threat number 1 in the Genesect and threat number 2 in the Mega Latios. So, unfortunately for me, he decided to bring both. I mean, how dare he bring his 2 best Mons that can absolutely sweep my team. So, yeah, both of them are very scary. Luckily, though, he's not bringing Piloswine, so that means that I'm able to freely Volt Switch around with my Tapu Koko. Like, I can just click that whenever I'm in and be able to switch out, not have to worry about him going into his electric immunity. And also, I'm noticing that he did not bring Smeargle or Kecleon, which means that he's not going to have any hazards at all. So hazards are 100% going to be in my favor, and I'm going to try to get those up as quickly as possible. That being said, with his team, that's going to be very difficult. And besides the Genesect and Mega Latios, I am unfortunately noticing both the Mimikyu, which can keep some of my Mons from sweeping by taking a hit, and the Zoroark, which I'm going to have to scout out early to figure out what that is so that my Mons like Superior and Tapu Koko and Mew don't just get knocked out because I'm like, oh, that's not Zoroark, and it does turn out to be Zoroark. So seeing that he does not have any ground types at all, he did not bring the Piloswine, I am just going to lead with my Tapu Koko in case he leads with, well, no matter what he leads with, I can threaten the Volt Switch, and he leads off with Rotom. Now, right here, I could very easily just click Volt Switch, be like, okay, Rotom can't do anything to me, but again, he has that Zoroark. That Mind Game is already in full motion. I don't want to just lose my Tapu Koko to a Scarf, Sludge Bomb, or anything like that, so I am going to switch out immediately on that Rotom, go into my Mew, because he's not going to go for Dark Pulse. There is absolutely zero way he goes for Dark Pulse with Zoroark on a Tapu Koko turn 1. If anything, you would just go for the safe Sludge Bomb, because 1, it can one-shot the Tapu Koko if I stay in and don't fear the Zoroark, and 2, it has a chance to poison the Mew. So I mean, or it has a chance to poison whatever comes in. So I'm just going to go into the Mew knowing that he won't click Dark Pulse. So if he clicks U-turn, then cool. I mean, my Mew takes the hit anyway, and I'm not too worried, as he does set up the light screen. Now, I'm going to pause it once again right here, because I feel really stupid. I completely forgot that I had Defog on my Superior. Like, that just completely slipped my mind. And what I should have done is, as soon as I saw that, switch my Mew back out into my Superior and then defog away his screen. Because if he has one screen, he's going to have 2 screens, and he's probably going to have Light Clay as well, which is another way that he can set up Mons and beat me. So I really should have gone to Superior right then, but instead I just go for the Psychic, try to get a little bit of chip damage on Rotom, as I do think that once Rotom goes down, or actually I know once Rotom goes down, that once Rotom goes down and Hawlucha's Disguise is busted, and Mimikyu's Disguise is busted, wow, I'm falling over my words, that Hawlucha can just win. I go to my Superior 1 turn too late. I mean, you turn in, maybe he'll go for like a Will-O-Wisp or something like that, but he does go for the Volt Switch and goes into Genesect, and this, I mean, because I was dumb forgetting that I had Defog on my Superior, and I go into Superior one turn too late, I'm going to have to pay the price because, one, I'm not going to be able to defog away his hazards. Two, he has Genesect in for free behind both screens, both layers of hazards. Wow, both layers of his screens, sorry. One, he has Genesect in behind both screens. Two, my Superior is going to have to switch out because he also got the attack boost, which means if he's not like a Shift Gear or Rock Polish, he still has a U-turn that is going to hit me very, 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 very hard, maybe even knock me out. And three, if I switch my Superior out, which I'm going to do, I'm not going to sack Superior this early, then he gets momentum in on something. So just very, very poor early game play by me. I'm going to go into my Heatran knowing, okay, I'm going to resist the U-turn. He crits me. Honestly, not too big of a deal. And he goes into Conkeldurr right now. So because he revealed U-turn, I can almost guarantee that that is Scarf Genesect. Well, I can almost guarantee that it's not Shift Gear or Rock Polish because you wouldn't be running U-turn on those as your Bug Stab. You'd be running like Bug Buzz or X Scissor because you'd want to stay in with those boosts. So by going for U-turn, I know that this is more than likely Scarf Genesect, which is a lot less of a threat, luckily. And my Heatran is less necessary than I had thought it would be. So Heatran, he goes into his Conkeldurr right there, and I'm thinking, okay, Heatran's in. I can outspeed this Conkeldurr and get my rocks up. He's going to... Okay, so this is if this is Conkeldurr, he's either going to go for the Drain Punch. He's not going to go for the Drain Punch. He's going to go for the knockoff because, I mean, that's just kind of a coverall play. My play, more than likely right here, is to go into Mew or Tapu Koko, both of which, I mean, knockoff does pretty solid damage against. And if it's Zoroark, he's going to go for the Dark Pulse because hits Heatran neutrally and also hits Mew super effectively, and he knows that I'm probably not going to go into Tapu Koko on that. So, knowing that Heatran is not going to be going down this turn, I'm just going to stand and get my rocks up, as it will help me with chipping down Mimikyu, identifying Zoroark, and just getting damage on his team, whittling him down into like Scolipede range, Hawlucha range, Tapu Koko range, that type of thing. So I do get this right, as he does reveal to be the Zoroark as I go for my Stealth Rocks. And seeing that he's locked into his Dark Pulse, I am going to switch out, go into Tapu Koko, take the Dark Pulse. I won't take it well, but I mean, I still take it, and I'm able to get a free Volt Switch off. And at this point, knowing that I take this Dark Pulse, I'm just going to Volt Switch and go into my Scolipede, think, okay, I'm going to claim a kill. Like, his screens are terrifying. I need to put some very solid pressure on him. So I'm just going to go into my Scolipede knowing that I can take a Dark Pulse, and I'm just going to Swords Dance up, force him to go into his Mimikyu after if he wants to kill me. And unfortunately, he does get very good damage off on Dark Pulse. I thought maybe I might be able to scare him out, but that was the right play on his part. Just stay in and damage me as I Swords Dance up, and then I Poison Jab, knock out the Zoroark. So now his screens are gone. I'm a +2/+2 Scolipede. He has to go into Genesect and reveal E-Speed, or he has to go into Mimikyu, take Rocks damage, which puts him more in range of Hawlucha, and then just try to Shadow Sneak me. So right now, Scolipede is terrifying, but he does go out to the Mimikyu, gets that crucial Rocks damage, which, I mean, one more Rocks turn and it's in range, and I'm going to go into Heatran right now. Maybe, like, just sacking it off at this point, I'm thinking, okay, like, there's no way, like, Heatran's pretty much useless at this point because of how low it is. I got my Rocks up, Heatran did what it needed to do. Genesect is not necessarily going to be sweeping me. It's not going to be like a Rock Polish or Shift Gear set. Heatran can go down at this point. And also, I've only revealed like one move on Heatran at a time, so I can kind of bluff the Choice Scarf too, and he'll want to keep the Disguise on Mimikyu. The Disguise on Mimikyu keeps him from being swept by Hawlucha. So, I mean, I think if he decides to call my bluff, stay in and Shadow Claw me, then good on him. I can just go into like Superior or something and switch out. But with Heatran right here, I'm just going to go for the Flash Cannon as he goes into his Latios. And, I mean, the bluff apparently worked as I'm able to get good damage off on Latios right here. And no questions asked, I'm going Mew. I am not risking this thing getting to +2 and then sweeping me with Outrage. I'm immediately going Mew, knowing that I can take whatever he wants to go for, as he does actually end up... first of all, he's Dragon Dance set, which I called. And he ends up critting me with the Dragon Claw, which, I mean, luckily that was an Outrage or I would have died. But Thunder Wave, I am able to hit that, as he does just go for a Dragon Dance once again, which, I mean, is fine with me. And now I am going to go for the U-turn. I think, okay, I mean, I can take the Dragon Claw, go into Tapu Koko and knock him out. But he goes for Roost. which is incredible for me, because not only do I get to knock this Latios out with Dazzling Gleam from my Tapu Koko after I outspeed it thanks to the para, but Mew doesn't have to take a hit either, so that worked out beautifully for me. Mega Latios is out of the way, and unfortunately Genesect is in right now. I am just going to sack off my Heatran right now, thinking, okay, what's he going to go for? Maybe scout out the set, maybe I can take advantage of that with like Superior, Scolipede, or Hawlucha, but he does just go for U-turn, doesn't knock me out, and he goes into Rotom right here. Now, right here, at this point, I'm not messing around. I'm going into Superior immediately, and I'm just going to claim my kill. Like, I need to take out something. Genesect is not going to switch in, especially since he went for the Reflect. Genesect is not going to switch in because I could very easily just go for HP Fire trying to predict the Genesect. And at the very least, Rocks plus Leaf Storm damage will be very nice in chipping that Genesect down. So now that Superior is in, I'm just going to go for the Leaf Storm, as he does decide to go into Conkeldurr right there. And I do get a crit. Doesn't end up mattering. He would have gone for Mach Punch anyway. I would have been able to knock it out with a +2 Leaf Storm right here. So really, while that crit was like, oh, it's a crit, I mean, it did not matter at all. Like, Conkeldurr still would have gone down to my +2 Leaf Storm. Genesect still would have came in, and it really didn't matter. Now, this is where my EVing everything to give Genesect the attack boost is starting to bite me. It might look like I have all 6 Mons, but, I mean, Heatran's low, Tapu Koko's low, Scolipede's low, Mew's at full, but again, it does not want to take a super effective +1 U-turn, neither does Superior, and I want to save Hawlucha for late game because I might need it to outspeed this Genesect, and that would only give me 1 shot with my Electric Seed to be popped, so that's what I'm going for right here. Like, Genesect is here, Genesect is now, I have to sack something. I figure Scolipede can't really do much. Heatran at the very least, like if he gets a special attack boost against something else, Heatran can take a U-turn or an Iron Head from neutral against Genesect. So I mean, that's why I decided to sack off Scolipede instead of Heatran, just because I mean Heatran could potentially have some utility. And I'm going to go into Mew right here because I did calc, and Mew 100% lived Scarf Genesect's +1 Iron Head. Now, I'm going to go for the T-Wave right here. If I get the T-Wave off on Genesect, then I'm in an amazing spot. Like, that means that all my Mons outspeed Genesect now. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Well, I mean, I still have to worry about it, but it's not nearly as big of a threat as it could be at, well, with the Choice Scarf, because then my Superior and my Hawlucha, like, everything will outspeed it at that point. So he could very easily go Rotom and try to get screens up, but I figure, okay, if I go for T-Wave, it's not a huge deal, because Genesect still has to come back in. Rotom can set up the screens. If he goes Rotom, I get a free switch into Superior, so it's really not a big deal if he goes into Rotom on the T-Wave. But if he decides to stay in with Genesect thinking that I would overpredict, then I basically win the game. I mean, I still have to deal with that Mimikyu, which is very, very scary, especially with its priority. But I think that I will be in a much, much better spot to win the game if he thinks that I will overpredict, which he does end up doing. I do not get flinched, thank the Lord, and I'm able to paralyze that Genesect, which I mean, more or less might win me the game. Depending on how that goes, because now Genesect is no longer as much of a threat at all, and I'm just going to soft-boiled up a little bit. I'm not in any danger of getting flinched or anything like that, so I'm just going to soft-boiled up my Mew, wait for him to get parried, and go from there. Or wait for him to get parried or switch, because at this point he's on the losing end of that exchange. Like, yeah, he can stall me out of soft-boileds, but sooner or later he's going to get parried, just statistically speaking, and then I will have a full health Mew that can outspeed Genesect, and I can Mew-turn or go for something else. As he does just end up going Rotom, just spares the waiting of him to get full parried, or maybe even me to just run out of soft boils, which probably wouldn't have happened. And he goes Rotom right there. 100% I am going Superior. I am not making the same mistake twice. I'm Mew-turning right on out of there, going into Superior, and at this point I am firing off a Leaf Storm. Now, I also had the play of going for Defog, which, I mean, would have gotten rid of his light screen, but I did the calc. And at +2, Superior knocks out Genesect even behind Light Screen with HP Fire. could knock out the Rotom right here with my Leaf Storm, and with Mimikyu, I don't care if I knock it out. I just want to get rid of its disguise so that Hawlucha can kill it. So right here, while I did think about going for Defog, my play is 100% going for Leaf Storm as he goes into Genesect, and I'm like, alright, Genesect is going down. Serperior has a great chance to sweep. All I have to do is just hit this Leaf Storm, get my +2, and knock this thing out with HP Fire. And then Mimikyu might not even KO me depending on how much he's invested, and Serperior just being bulky as all heck. I mean, I'll at least break his disguise, which essentially could win me the game, and unfortunately, I miss. Now, you might be thinking, why does that matter? Like, Genesect still will go down to HP Fire, like, you're fine, it's 4 times super effective, and no. Genesect lives a light screen HP Fire from Serperior just because, I mean, Serperior is very weak. Like, it only has 75 base special attack. That's why Leaf Storm on it is what makes it good. So if I'd hit that, pretty much won the game right there. But because I missed, I don't want to sack Serperior because it is my way of one-shotting Rotom and applying pressure otherwise. So I am just going to sack Heatran at this point. He got the attack boost. There's no way that I'm living the U-turn. So very unfortunate for me. But at this point, if he goes Rotom, I just go into Serperior, rinse, repeat with Leaf Storm, and go from there. If he goes Mimikyu, I know that my Mew lives, so I am just going to go into that and Mewturn to get rid of his disguise, because at this point, even if he Swords Dances up, I'm still able to potentially one-shot it with my Hawlucha, or at least put it in range of my Mew going for Mewturn or Psychic once again, and then Serperior can clean up from there. So by busting the Mimikyu's disguise with that Mew, I essentially seal up the game for myself. I'm going to go into Tapu Koko. Just, I mean, I Brave Bird, well, he Swords Dances up, which, I mean, good play. There was no way that I was doing anything else, and he knew my set. And I went for Brave Bird just in case he decided to try to get greedy and Swords Dance up again. But now is the beginning of the end for him. He knocks me out with his Shadow Sneak right there. I mean, that was the best play possible, because plus 4 would not knock out Hawlucha with Shadow Sneak, and then also, like, the healthier his Mimikyu is, the better chance he has to win the game. So right now I go into Hawlucha, and it's a roll depending on his investment. If he is only minimally invested, which I think he might be to try to outspeed Heatran, but still adamant to, you know, get damage off, get heavy damage off, then my Hawlucha has a chance to OHKO with Acrobatics from this range. If I don't, I just go directly into my Mew and go for a Psychic to finish off the Mimikyu. I do live +4 Shadow Sneak with my investment, and then from there, no matter what Rotom and Genesect go for, Serperior does clean up the game, and I guess I could technically lose to just missing every Leaf Storm, but I mean, I still have the game pretty much wrapped up at this point. Gonna go for the Acrobatics, luckily do get the roll, and at this point I'm just cleaning up. He didn't try to pull anything with like Rotom or Genesect. I mean, it was his best play to just try to live it, try to get the roll, which he did not get. Rotom's coming in, going down to high jump kick, and then the Genesect is going to get knocked out by the HP Fire, and we will be able to win, or HP Fire, wow, by the Fire Punch. Sorry, Hawlucha is not going to be a special Hawlucha anytime soon. Sorry for fans of special Hawlucha, that's just not happening. And we are able to take that game 3-0. Would have been a little bit, actually I think it would have been like 4-0 if my Serperior hadn't missed the Leaf Storm, but still able to win the game. Hawlucha finally able to come through. Serperior, I'm sorry, you would have gotten a bunch of kills, but you missed that Leaf Storm, so that's on you, bud. Regardless, we do take week 2, 3-0. Now we are 2-0, and hopefully can continue this trend later into the season. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.